Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Smashing Maths Problems with MRT Maths. So like in the previous episode, I have introduced you to RI, repeated identity, and today we will explore another RI question. So this time round, this question actually belongs to section B. And you have about 2 to 3 minutes to complete this when you are in the exam mode. So let's get right down to it, shall we? The ratio of the number of books to number of pens is 2 to 5. So I'll underline books. I'll indicate 2 units for the books. I'll underline pens. I will indicate 5 units for the pens because we are following the sequence of 2 to 5. And they say that the ratio of number of erasers to the number of books is 3 to 7. So erasers, I will indicate 3 units. And for our books, we'll indicate 7 units. So what is the actual question? They say, or rather they're asking, what is the ratio of the number of pens to the erasers? So pens to the erasers. So having done our basic annotation in pencil, let us use the highlighters. So BYROG, B for blue. Books to pens 2 to 5. Y for yellow. Erasers to books 3 to 7. R for red. So we're looking at pens to the erasers. So before we can proceed, we have to identify our RI. Okay? So our RI, our repeated identity, do you know which item has been repeated twice? So boys and girls, if you read carefully, books to pens followed by erasers to books. So this will actually mean that books will be our RI since books has been repeated twice. Okay? Books have been repeated twice. And how shall we draw our ratio table? As in, how shall we draw our RI ratio table? So since the question wants us to find pens to erasers, I shall go with pens. After the pens, I'll write down books. Finally, I will have my erasers. So do you still recall how many boxes do we need under the heading? The answer is 9. Okay, because this is our RI tic-tac-toe ratio table. So it's very easy to do, very easy to solve. So like I mentioned in the previous episode, this is one of my favorites. One of my personal favorites to solve, also one of my personal favorites to teach. So the question says books to pens 2 units, 5 units. So now that we have reversed the order, switched the order to begin with the pens, followed by books, followed by erasers, our job is basically to put our RI, our repeated item, our repeated identity in the middle. So since books appeared twice in 2 sentences, in the first 2 sentences, books has got to be the middle, and because of that, my units for the pens will be 5 units. For books, it's actually 2 units. So we got to put them into the right places, put them into the right boxes. So everyone, do you realize that I actually write my units near to the line and not smack in the middle? Okay? So do not write your units smack in the middle, because you'll need the working space below your units. So the pro tip here is to write as close to the line as possible. So that will give you more working space when you're solving this in the exam. Okay, so back to the question. In my next row, I'll write down the units for the erasers, which is actually 3 units. What about the books? Oh, the books actually 7 units. Okay, so remember, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we have to make our RI the same. Okay, make the units for the books the same by finding lowest common multiple. which is none other than LCM. So in this question, the LCM of 2 and 7 is 14. So we got to turn the units for the books into 14 units, whether is it for the first row or for the second row. So to turn 2 units into 14 units, I will multiply by 7. So in school, your teacher will be teaching you this as equivalent ratio. Okay, equivalent ratio. Then I will need to turn the units for the books into 14 units for the second row as well, which is why I will multiply by 2, multiply by 2, and this will be 14 units for the books again, and 6 units for the erasers. So I have a final row at the bottom. It is for me to indicate the final answer. So it's 35 units for the pens, 14 units for the books, and last but not least 6 units for the erasers. So let's look at the question carefully. Do they want us to have 3 items in our ratio, or is it just the pens to the erasers? So upon looking at it carefully, all they want from us is to write down the ratio of the pens to the erasers. So be very careful, boys and girls. Remember, when you are writing ratio as it is, when you are writing ratio with the colon symbol, which I'm circling now in black, you cannot be putting down units. So it's really just 2 numbers. So when I look at the pens, okay, it is 35 units. So I'll put down 35 over here. And what about the erasers? Okay, what about the erasers? Erasers actually 6 units. Which means that they require us to have the ratio of 3 items first. 3 items whereby books is in the middle, and we have pens on the left, erasers on the right. And after we have obtained the ratio of 3 items, whereby it's 35 to 14 to 6, they want us to compare pens to erasers. Your answer will be 35 to 6. And always double check that. Always double check if your ratio can be further simplified. So I do know that this question, 35 to 6, is already in the simplest form. And there we have it. We have come to the end of this episode. So thank you everyone for watching Smashing Maths Problems with MRT Maths. This is Teacher Ray signing off. I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much. Bye bye.